Hello everyone. Today we will study the topic water, the solvent of life. Water, the solvent of life. When you dissolve sugar or salt in a glass of water, after some time the glass contains a uniform mixture of sugar and water or salt and water. And the concentration of the dissolved sugar or salt is same everywhere in the mixture. So a liquid that is completely homogeneous mixture of two or more substances is called solution. So solution is a completely homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. The thing that gets dissolved, the substance that gets dissolved is called solute, and the dissolving agent is solvent. So if I said here water is the solvent, clear? So the solution here is aqueous solution. If the water is solvent, the solution will be aqueous solution. Aqueous solution. Okay. And water is a very versatile solvent. And all thanks to the polar nature. You know the water molecule is polar. Oxygen is highly electronegative. So this gives a partial negative charge to the oxygen and partial positive charges to the hydrogen atoms. Now, if we place 1 spoonful of salt, table salt, sodium chloride in water, what happens? At the surface of each crystal of each grain of salt, the sodium and chloride ions are exposed to the solvent. And these ions and the regions of the water molecules are attracted to each other due to their opposite charges. Say, this is chloride ion, this is negatively charged, this is attracted to the positively charged hydrogen ions. Whereas the positively charged sodium ion that is attracted towards the negatively charged oxygen atoms. Clear? So here you can see the water molecules surround the chloride and sodium ions, right? Separating and shielding them from one another. And the sphere of water molecules around each dissolved ion is hydration shell. See, hydrated chloride ion, hydrated sodium ion, and you can see this thing. This is nothing but hydration shell. Hydration shell. Here also you can see this. This is hydration shell. So hydration shell is the sphere of water molecules around each dissolved ion. Now if I say you have placed a crystal of salt, then the water will work, right, inward from the surface of each salt crystal. If this is a salt crystal, from the surface it goes inward and eventually the whole salt is dissolved. So water eventually dissolves all the ions, and the result is a solution of two solutes, sodium cation and chloride anions, and both are mixed homogeneously with water, the solvent here, and we get an aqueous solution. There are other ionic compounds also that dissolved in water. If I say sea water, It contains a great variety of dissolved ions, just like living cells. Okay, a compound does not need to be just ionic to dissolve in water. Many compounds that are made up of non-ionic polar molecules, such as sugar, they are also water soluble. The thing is, they have to be polar, whether ionic or non-ionic. Such compounds dissolve when water molecules surround each of the solute molecules, forming hydrogen bonds with them. Even molecules as large as proteins can dissolve in water if they have ionic and polar regions on their surface. Many different kinds of polar compounds are dissolved along with the ions in water of biological fluids, for example, our blood, for example, the sap of plants, and the liquid within all cells. Water is the solvent of life. You can see ionic substances also dissolved in water, and covalent substances also dissolved in water. And covalent compounds, they have to be polar. So the polar things, the covalent compounds have polar regions, right? And they dissolve in water. They form hydrogen bonds. Clear? You can see here the lysozyme, the enzyme in our saliva, tears. It has ionic and polar regions. So, hydrogen bond, see, you can see this hydrogen bond, right? So the hydrogen is attracted to a partial negative charge on the lysozyme molecule. So ionic and polar regions of the protein help in forming the help in dissolving the thing. Okay. Now there are things called hydrophobic and hydrophilic. If I say hydrophilic substances, hydro means water. Hydro is a Greek word, and philos means loving. So literally water loving substances. In fact, the substances can be water loving, hydrophilic, without actually dissolving. There are some molecules in our cells that are very large. They do not dissolve. Second thing, I can give you an example of towel. Towel is made up of cotton towel we are saying. And that is made up of cellulose, big molecules of cellulose, a compound that has many partially positive and partially negative charges that can form hydrogen bonds with water. You can see cellulose fiber. Clear? So it is a big molecule. It has many partially positive and negative charges. Clear? And they can form bonds with water. Okay. Now if I say multiple hydrogen bonds are formed. Clear? Here water is H2O, here extra H is given in many. Don't get confused, there are only 2 hydrogens in water. Clear? And they will be, if I say oxygen, that will be drawn, that will be attracted to the positively charged ions. Clear? Hydrogen will be attracted to the negatively charged regions, and because of this there will be the thing that this towel will absorb the water without actually getting dissolved in the water. So this is because of hydrogen bonding, the hydrophilic cellulose. Clear? It forms hydrogen bonds with water. Second, capillary action is also there. Clear? Okay. Now if I say xylem, in the walls of xylem there is cellulose also. There is cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin. Cellulose is also there in the xylem. And you know, when the water goes from root to shoot, clear, when the water is absorbed, the water is attracted to the wall of the xylem. Actually, cellulose is there which has partially positive and negative charges, so water get attracted to the walls. This is known as adhesion, and that helps the water move up against the gravity. So the walls are hydrophilic. The walls of xylem are hydrophilic. Clear? And definitely the wall don't dissolve here in water. It is just attracting the water and helping the water move up the plant against the gravity. There are some substances which are hydrophobic. Now if I say hydrophobic, definitely it comes from phobia. So phobos means fear. Fearing, it fears water. So the substances are non-ionic and non-polar. So they cannot even make hydrogen bonds. Non-ionic, non-polar substances. Oil. If you try to mix oil with water, does it mix? No. Or any water based substance, for example vinegar, that does not mix with oil in the kitchen. So why is water hydrophobic? There are large number of non-polar covalent bonds. So there are non-polar covalent bonds between the carbon and hydrogen. If I say